Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishnan, and here basically we are talking about the attraction question. Basically, one person basically told that basically why basically one person basically told that human needs basically are getting ended, of the natural resources are basically getting end. So we have to find some alternative. So he told that basically can we have the educate sorry from have the human needs from the education. Basically he was shocked basically from how basically the from education basically you can get the human needs basically. Then basically he told that basically the education basically institute basically has done creation. Basically they have done the each and every creations basically. Then basically one example, basically few example basically he has given. For example, if you do MBA from Bangalore, then basically you are going to generate potato from particular institute. Then he told that if you take doing the MBA from Harvard University, then basically you are going to generate chiku. If you are generating the sorry if you are doing the education from Oxford University, then basically you are that MBA basically people basically are going to generate pineapple. Pineapple like this basically he told that he basically differentiate the quality also, qualities of the fruits also, quality of the fruits, quality of the vegetables. He told that basically if you gets certification from the MBA from the MBA from Harvard, then basically if your percentage is above 90 percentage, then basically you are going to generate pineapple. But that also basically with good quality, that also basically highly quality apple sorry pineapple only. So like this basically he was shocked actually what actually he is telling that. Like this basically he told that basically this is also one of the data science project basically, which basically mostly might have generated by the business development group basically. Business development of the IT industry basically, they might have 100% basically, they might have created this software basically, because this is not very new, right? So this is very old. So business development group basically told that we have created this software basically, which says that basically if you do education from this area, then basically your body is going to generate this. If the certification is basically up to this level percentage, then basically your body is going to generate this energies basically. Then basically he was literally shocked basically. He was the person basically who got the answer. He was basically literally shocked. Literally shocked. There's been what actually this is basically. Then he told that basically this is also basically the attraction of educations, which basically generates the human needs. So you can just imagine the human needs basically, which is getting generated on base of the education, which is basically already created and already designed by the architecture of the human needs basically. He was literally shocked basically that human needs basically creation happens from the education. Then he told that basically this system basically it's not old also basically, it's not too much of old, it's a new basically. But the system basically has been created and with lots of basically human needs. 50% human needs basically the person basically the earth planet basically which is consuming human needs basically, that is basically from the education basically, that is basically from the education system basically. He was literally shocked basically. 50 percentage is basically it's a very high amount basically, high percentage basically. 50 percentage means 50 percentage is basically very highly percentage amount basically. So you can just imagine basically the attraction of the education is basically converting the human needs. Sorry, the generating the human needs, not converting. Converting basically after consuming the human needs, the human body basically is going to convert, going to generate. So the person basically was literally shocked basically how that basically the percentage, how basically that things basically was achieved basically. For this, basically, the Congress group basically told that we have done lots of hard work. Basically, we have created lots of things. Basically, lots of education system. Basically, education system. Basically, we have created. For example, one person told that if MBA basically contains 15 books, for 15 books they have created 250 cities basically. 15 books basically of the MBA contains 15 books, and that 15 books basically is created from the 250 cities basically. But entire cities basically was not used because there are lots of education system basically was dumped in that city basically. You can just imagine basically like this basically how many cities are basically connected with the education system basically. That is basically one of the question basically, and that is basically one of the projects basically, one of the projects basically, because MBA basically one person basically told that MBA one girl basically told that MBA basically if that books contains basically is 15 books basically is MBA basically containing 15 books, and that basically if you read that 15 books and if you are basically getting this many percentage, that many percentage, that is basically connected with the 250 cities basically, that is connected with the 250 cities basically. The when you read the books basically that time directly your energy basically your brain basically does not connect with the that 250 cities basically. The power supply chain is there in between basically with you. The power supply basically they take the 250 cities energy and they basically dumps into the cities basically, where basically you are reading the MBA books basically. Then basically the person was basically literally shocked. Then basically they told that if you are doing MB and if your education, if your experience is this much experience, this many years experience, that many years experience, then your body is going to generate lots of human needs basically. That also basically will be highly vitamins energy basically. That's basically is captured by the set of power companies and energy companies. Then basically they create the human needs basically from your energy basically of the body basically. And this basically the nuclear company basically they basically knows, they basically actually if you say that if the software company is having each and every projects basically, that is on the base of the nuclear companies basically, then the power companies basically. Tata Power is one of the company basically. Nuclear power companies there basically, they are basically connected with the Tata Power groups. Like Accenture is there basically, they are basically connected with set of nuclear power company groups. They basically get the project from that group basically. But here basically they directly don't get the projects from the nuclear power company. Few people basically get directly projects basically. Like IBM companies there, Microsoft companies there, they basically directly connected with the energies and the power company because they are up to that level basically, trained people. They know basically what actually the human needs is, how basically to create the human needs. In Microsoft basically corporation, then mostly basically around 250 300 doctors basically might be connected with that group basically, because doctor diagnose each and every energies, each and every blood cells basically which is getting generated in the Microsoft employees human bodies. So just see basically up to what level the experiments basically ongoing, and after that only the products get launched into the market. So it's basically huge basically experiments, huge experiments basically. Then only basically the market basically gets the products basically. Without experiments, without research, without R&D, without testing, not a single products basically gets into the market. Why? Because it's a attraction. Because once the product basically enters into the market, it attracts many peoples. Then basically energy gets generated, and then if any bad energy gets generated, then basically the crores of planets basically gets attract. And few people says that basically this is also basically the research subject. Few people says that basically the earthquake basically solves the problem. Few people says that earthquake, there will not be any earthquake basically. There's no need to give the earthquakes. That planets basically is not going to attract to the Earth planet or towards Earth planet basically. So that's basically that is this is also basically one of the subject basically. When basically if you when you feel that basically the world is going to be completely end, then that time basically you can do the experiment. That time basically you can do the experiment. Till then basically there is no need to do the experiment. So for that basically you need to capture the energies. For that basically nuclear power company is there. From there basically you can collect the energies. So like this basically you can just assume that the education system basically which is created. Harvard group says that now here few people says that if basically doctors basically are up to this level basically, then basically the education of the doctors basically what their body is basically going to generate. This is also basically, but they also basically their books are there basically. Their books are also connected like same way the MBA books are there. Harvard basically gives the MBBS degree. Oxford also gives the doctor's degree. So like this, basically, that depends upon the education system. Basically, education system. Basically, few people basically says that basically we are just we have done just a normal study and we are basically giving the lecture to Harvards and Oxfords basically, and they are basically listening it. But they are up to that level. Basically, they will never going to give good comments because they says that basically our education system is very powerful. Nobody can basically beat our education system. So they basically never defeat with the normal basically education group basically. So like this basically you can just imagine the education system basically which is created, and the education system basically is generating the human needs. You can just basically you can with the people basically can't imagine it basically. You can't imagine the thing basically. That education systems basically are attracting the human needs basically. Creating the human needs. That is basically by default the attraction of human needs only. So how many degrees are there basically in this world basically? 10th is there, 12th is there, then graduation is there, then master degrees are there. Like this basically how many degrees are basically there basically. And the people takes the education, they gets the certification. According to the certification, they gets the marks. According to marks, basically their body basically gets consumed. Their body basically gets creations. Few people says that basically they got 95 percentage. Few people says that they got 95 percentage. Then directly basically the big company hired them because they have got 95 percentage. So basically big company knows that basically his body's energies are basically is going has already generated up to that level basically. Then basically we can polish them and we can use them in our company system. The system basically which we have created, so few people says education system is basically created by the set of group of companies basically. That also basically few people says previously basically there was no degree like MBA. Previously there was no degree like MCA. So this everything basically it's created basically by the set of companies basically. They says that we want this type of people. So for that basically they prepares the education system basically. They only prepare. They need to prepare basically. Then also basically they are going to get the resources. So you can just imagine the education system basically created by the companies basically. The companies basically says that basically we have created the education system, and according to the education system basically you get the resources. So you can just imagine the things basically. The attraction basically of the education system basically, which is created by the set of groups basically. In this basically government says that we have also kept the control. We have kept the control. For that basically I will take one example. In science basically there are many formulas basically in the science. One school basically got open that basically contains science stream and the commerce stream. In science stream basically there were one or two lab basically set it. For that basically they got the permission after certain days. They got the permission, the lecture started, The experiment or so the R&D basically in the science lab started. Here basically formula of the books basically says that a plus b equal to c, a plus b plus c plus d. Like this basically the science formula. This is basically not formula, basically this is just taken as an example. So the formula is like this, but here the book says that a plus b equal to c, a plus b plus c equal to d. So here basically the government says that a plus b plus c plus f equal to d. So f basically they have added. Government says that they kept their system basically. They have kept that value basically, you can say kept. They have kept. So like this basically government says that if this normal school system is like this basically, then basically you can just imagine the ONGC company, IOC company, IPCL company, Reliance company, RIL company, how basically they might have mapped. They are that also basically they told it. So this is also basically one of the attraction, that also very dangerous attraction basically. Not dangerous. If you say that the most dangerous attraction. And this basically carry forwards in the universe basically. Planet Earth, planet Mars, planet Jupiter equal to that energy. But here basically universe group says that we have kept our few set of planets also basically, that is basically hidden in front of the Earth planet. So just imagine basically how dangerous it is. Just imagine basically how dangerous the system basically is. This all basically education is this is also basically one of the type of earthquakes basically. Earthquake basically when it comes basically, one person basically told that if the buildings floor basically are up to 12, so that 12 floor basically building basically can handled by the education system. In that education system basically you can take MCA people, BCA people energies, MBA people energies, BCom people energies. So like this, if the floor is up to 12, then basically you can take up to this all people basically their energies basically and their studies basically, and then basically they have got the job, and according to that basically you can take their energies basically, so that the education system basically keeps their value basically, keeps their value basically. You can just imagine, very dangerous. It's not very dangerous, it's very 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 dangerous. The entire system basically it's very dangerous. That's why basically lots of people says that sometime basically lots of things need to close also basically sometime, because sometime basically they say that the system basically got hanged. System basically which got created, that got hanged basically. We can just imagine basically the computer, not computer system basically, the system basically, they have this basically system, right? Education system, the education basically, MBA groups are there, MCA groups are there, BCA groups are there, MBBS groups are there, MD groups are there. They basically takes the education, their body basically gets generates, they basically start generating the human needs, then basically they jump into the professional environment. There basically they takes the experience, according to that basically their career gets on. Like this their basically body gets generates. So you can just think basically the imagine thing, the imagination basically you can say of the education power system basically. This basically I have given one name, education attraction. Education attraction. So in next level basically we are going to see some more thing about the attract. In this basically the India basically creation is done by the Congress. So they basically each and everything basically they know how basically the things. Few people says that the degree of MD basically, the degree of MBBS basically, that basically is connecting to the another country only basically. Their education system basically energy is coming from the another country. So like this basically the country chains are also basically there, and within the countries basically chain are also there. So there are two types of education system. One is the degree basically which takes the energy from the outside, and one degree basically that takes the energy from within the country only. So there are basically many types of energies basically. So this is also one of the part basically of the attraction. In next level basically we are going to see little bit more about the education system only.